Something that's really been changing a lot and becoming a big topic is cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. I understand that these are privately created and they're very speculative and there's a lot of different ones. I'm just wondering for your overall take on that. Do you think that the blockchain technology would be useful, and just your overall thoughts on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency?
Sure, blockchain is an interesting development. It's useful and it will be useful, but I don't think it has anything to do with the question of cryptocurrency. It's associated. It's a game. It's a public relations game. It's like when Lyft and Uber tell you, we have a new technology about how to get the... That's got nothing to do with their business model. Their business model, and I'll use it, you'll see the parallel. Their business model is, over the years, the taxi industry, a capitalist industry when it got going, company with drivers, abused the public, like so many capitalist industries do. What did they do? They didn't maintain the cars. They didn't vet the drivers. They didn't insure. And so when there was an accident, which there invariably was with a taxi system, the people were damaged and couldn't recover, couldn't get insurance. They were damaged too often. They saved on maintaining the cars and all the rest. At a certain point, the public went nuts, as it often does, in rage about the deficiencies of a capitalist taxi system, whereupon they created the Taxi and Limousine Commission in every city, or almost every city has that. And so now it becomes a regulated industry. You know what happened to utilities? It happened to lots of industries in our country for a variety of reasons. Taxi is the best example. Okay, so how do you make a commission? Here's what you do. First of all, you have to get the different interests. The public that wants a safe ride, the cab company that wants profit, the workers that want a good income. Okay, so the commission gets together and works this out, sets rates. This is how much you can charge per quarter mile for driving a cab. This is how much the workers will get paid, and this is the profit that will then result if these are the rates and these are the pay scales for your workers. And you have to insure the car, and you have to maintain it, you have to have a garage, we'll inspect you, and we'll put it all together, and everybody will get their deal. And so it was. For decades, taxis worked like this. You had taxi companies, and here in New York, they sold medallions to a car, so you could do it. Okay, now comes Lyft and Uber. Very simple. Happens in every industry. They look at this situation and say, whoa, those cab companies are getting a profit even though they pay workers really well, and they insure and they maintain because they get this great rate. Imagine how much money we could get if we could charge comparable rates. But we didn't do those other things. We paid them shit. We didn't maintain the car. We didn't vet the driver. Or as much of that as we can get away with. And let's call it the sharing economy. Let's call it a new technology. It's not a new, it has nothing to do with it. It's a very old game that's played in every regulated industry. When someone comes in and says, wait a minute, it's like FedEx or the other services coming in and taking away that part of the post office's function that is profitable, leaving them to service the little villages that have to have a post office, and which they don't make any money for them. They just destroy that public function by privatizing it, and calling it a great technological breakthrough or a great movement of efficiency, which it almost never is, because that's not what it's about. The business model here is a completely different thing. Okay, now cryptocurrency. To understand why that's unreal, again, you need the history, which is often the guide here. Once upon a time in the United States, in the 18th century and into the early part of the 19th century, banks all over the United States issued money. They printed banknotes.
Right.
So when you went from Maryland to Virginia or from Maine to Carolinas, you had to pass through a variety of places where you would have to literally exchange your money. Like if you now go to Europe, you cash in your dollars for euros, then you had to cash in bank money. And nobody knew who would accept how far around Carolina would the Carolina Bank, this one or that one's script, be used? It was terribly difficult for any kind of long distance travel, number one. Number two, easy for crooks to forge it, to fake it, to create illusionary uses for it so they could quickly exchange it for another currency that actually had some. It became unmanageable. The corruption of it, the lack of usefulness of it, the abuse of it interfered with trade. And so eventually the upswell came. Get rid of this. I was about to say a terrible F word. Get rid of this. And we need a uniform currency. We need something which is issued by an authority everybody respects, is enforced as the only game in town, so we can rely that if we buy and sell here and we move over there, the contract will be honored in a currency that is valuable. So they got rid of all of that to have a uniform currency. It is not at all surprising to me that after, like with Lyft and Uber, after decades of living in that world, people see opportunities to make money here, that if they set up their own currency, of course, if Amazon or if Google or if Microsoft create their own money and begin to trade in it, allow people to pay their bills in it, you're beginning to, it's like having Carolina Bank working a few of its, and now it becomes on the edge. Who else will accept it? And it will begin to become unmanageable. That's my guess. Totally. The computer isn't going to solve that problem because it's not a computer problem. So I don't expect, I expect this cryptocurrency to blow over because it's too, it's too disruptive of the system, and I don't think they'll allow it to happen. They'll shut it down. Just like I believe, again, the metaphor. In the end, if Lyft and Uber survive, they will be cab companies. They will be regulated by the same commission system that regulated the taxi. They will have to pay their workers more, and they'll have to charge more, and they'll have to insure properly and vet properly and maintain properly, in which case they're going to become another cab company alongside the yellow cab or anybody else who's doing it. And all the hoopla about technology and sharing economy will be exposed for what it was, which was mostly babbling.